Stop the music. Illyra Vance stands at the altar in a Manhattan ballroom that smells like money and control. Her father, Malcolm Vance, watches her like a contract. Her fiancé, Grant Caldwell, smiles for the cameras. It was never love, Illyra says. It was a merger. Malcolm steps closer. You will not embarrass this family. You already did, Illyra snaps. She grabs the front of her gown and rips. White silk tears. Gasps explode. Grant reaches for her wrist. Illyra, we talk later. Do not touch me, she says, loud enough to make the room flinch. Malcolm's voice stays low, meant for her alone. You do this and you lose everything. Illyra leans in, smiling like she is taking a photo. Then I will finally know what I actually own. She walks down the aisle barefoot, ruined dress trailing, and storms into the cold night. Black cars wait at the curb. Malcolm orders, get in. No. Grant follows her outside, breath sharp. This is a tantrum. We fix it and you apologize. Illyra points at the glittering crowd behind them. Apologize for refusing to be traded like stock. Grant's face tightens. Your father will freeze your accounts. He will lock you out of every door. Let him, Illyra says. I am done living in rooms I did not choose. A guard steps in, hand out. Miss Vance, please. Illyra slaps his hand away. The sound snaps through the night. For 1 second, nobody moves. Then Illyra runs. She hears Malcolm bark orders. Footsteps pound. A hand grazes her shoulder. She dives into a red sports car anyway, knuckles white as she punches the start button. The engine roars. The guard jumps back. Illyra shoots forward, heart hammering, and the city blurs into wet lights and furious shadows. Her phone buzzes with calls she refuses to answer. She races out of Manhattan, rain turning the road slick and bright. A curve. Headlights. A truck in her lane. Illyra swerves. Metal screams. Glass bursts. The car spins and dies against a stack of containers near a Long Island dock. Airbags cough smoke. Illyra tastes blood. A man runs through the rain, jacket soaked, hands stained with grease. He yanks the door open with a curse, cuts her belt, and drags her out like he is hauling scrap. Are you alive? He barks. Who are you? Illyra whispers. A guy whose night you wrecked. His eyes are hard, not cruel, just done with nonsense. You cannot park there. In the distance, black vehicles sweep into the dock roads, headlights moving in a searching pattern. Not police. Something worse. They found me, Illyra breathes. The man follows her stare. Who did you steal from? My father, she says. My life. He snorts. Come on. He pulls her between stacked containers to a rusted one with a side door. Inside is a narrow room with a cot, a couch, and a workbench crowded with parts. Sit, he orders. Illyra sinks onto the couch, shaking. He points at her phone. Do not turn that on. They will track you. My money is frozen, Illyra admits. I have nothing. The man leans back against the bench. So why are you in my box? Because you dragged me here, she says. He gives a humorless laugh. Fair. I keep you hidden for a few days. You stay quiet and you do not bring those suits to my door. I will pay you, Illyra says quickly. I can work. You do not know how, he replies. I know sharks, Illyra says. That counts. He studies her, then says, name. Illyra Vance. His expression shifts. Everyone knows that name. Of course. What is yours? She asks. Key and Cole. A beat of silence, then he pulls a velvet pouch from a drawer and lifts a necklace under the bulb. A cracked gear pendant. Illyra's fingers rise to her own necklace. Same shape, same crack. Kian's jaw clenches. That pendant was evidence in the case that ruined my life. Outside, engines idle. Doors slam. Men search in the rain. Illyra and Kian lock eyes, both realizing the same ugly truth. Her world did not just crash into his. It was always tied to it. Morning tastes like salt and cheap coffee. Illyra wears Kian's oversized hoodie and tries not to look at her torn dress on the floor like it is a corpse. Welcome to the bottom, Kian says. Illyra forces herself to learn fast. Her card declines. Nobody cares who she is. The dockyard runs on sweat, not titles. Kian makes her ride the subway with him anyway. Illyra tries to stand like she owns the car. A teenager shoulders past her. A woman rolls her eyes at her manicured nails. Elora swallows humiliation and keeps breathing. You are waiting for someone to save you, Kian says. Elora glares. I saved myself last night. Kian points at the station stairs. Then keep saving yourself. One step at a time. At a diner near the docks, the waitress takes one look at Elora and sighs. Tourist. Elora opens her mouth, then closes it. She is not a tourist. She is an exile. When the bill comes, Kian pays. Elora's cheeks burn. I will pay you back, she says. Kian shrugs. Just do not waste it. Back at the yard, a dock foreman tells Elora to move a crate. His grin is mean. Princess hands can handle a box, right? Elora grips the crate edge. It bites her palm. Pain flares. She does not let go. Kian watches, silent. When the foreman laughs and reaches for her shoulder, Kian steps in. Touch her again, Kian says quietly, and I show you what a wrench does to your teeth. The foreman backs off, muttering. Elora exhales, shaking. I did not ask you to threaten people for me. Kian looks at her. I did not do it for you. I did it because bullies make me sick. In the garage behind the containers, Elora sees what he tries to hide. Blueprints. Clean lines. Advanced engineering notes. Not dock work. You are not just a mechanic, she says. Do not touch my wall, Kian replies. Before she can push, black SUVs roll into the yard. Elora freezes. Grant steps out, coat perfect, smile practiced, like last night never happened. Elora, Grant calls. Come home. Your father will forgive you if you behave. Kian moves in front of her. She said no. Grant's gaze flicks over Kian, contempt curling. A dock rat. You really fell. Elora steps forward, anger steadying her spine. You moved company funds through an offshore account. You thought nobody noticed. Grant's smile falters for a second. The suit men shift. Grant lowers his voice. Careful. You do not want a war. I am done being quiet, Elora says. Grant's first words are not about her safety. They are about optics. You ruined the family brand, he says. Do you know how that looks on a live stream? Elora laughs once. You mean how it looks when your investment walks away? Grant's eyes flash, then he recovers. Get in the car, Elora. We can be civilized. Elora steps closer. Civilized is what you call cages when they are polished. Grant's smile turns sharp. You think you are brave because you are slumming it. You are just bored. Elora points at his watch. You are here because you are scared. You did not come for love. You came for control. One of the men reaches for her. Kian grabs a wrench and cracks it into the pavement near their boots. The sound is a warning, not an attack. Grant's pride snaps. Fine. Tonight. Street race. My driver crushes you and she comes with us. Kian answers for her. You lose and you stop sending dogs. That night, under harsh streetlights and roaring engines, Elora watches Kian take the line like he belongs to speed. He wins clean, fast, unstoppable. Grant's driver loses and Grant loses his mask with him. As the crowd cheers, Kian leans close to Elora. Your world uses power like perfume. Mine uses it to survive. Elora realizes she is smiling. She also realizes the fight has started, and she is no longer running. The race is not just engines. It is a language. Grant arrives with friends who laugh too loud. They place bets like it is a joke. Elora stands beside Kian and feels every stare. They want her to look ashamed. She refuses. Grant leans close. You belong with people like me. Elora answers without looking at him. I belong with people who do not treat love like a transaction. Grant's smile thins. He is using you. Kian snaps his helmet shut, then speaks through the visor, voice flat. I do not need her money. I need you to stop breathing near her. The starting line drops. Kian launches like a bullet. Grant's driver jerks, late, already losing. The crowd roars. Elora watches Kian take corners clean, brutal, perfect, and she realizes his calm is not luck. It is math. When Kian crosses first, he does not celebrate. He just rolls back, lifts his visor, and looks straight at Elora like she is the only witness that matters. You still want to run, he asks. Elora shakes her head once. Not anymore. Elora cannot sleep. The cracked gear pendant at her throat feels like a question that will not stop asking. Kian finally answers without being asked twice. 3 years ago, I had a lab job in New Jersey. I built a cleaner engine. Someone stole it. They framed me as a traitor. The headlines killed my father before I could fix anything. He drops a folder on the couch. Clippings, court papers, a photo of a gear pendant in an evidence bag. They said that pendant proved I was at the meet, Kian says. It was the only piece that never made sense. Allura holds her own necklace up. I have worn mine since I was 15. Kian stares at it like it is a loaded weapon. Then someone in your world planted it. Or someone used you. Allura borrows Kian's old laptop and digs into accounts her father thinks she does not know. She follows money, reads archived emails, and finds a thread dated 3 years ago. Grant's father writing to Malcolm Vance. Acquisition, patents, silence, profit split. Allura reads until her vision blurs. Her father did not just control her life. He helped destroy Kian's. Kian walks in and sees her face. What did you find? Allura pushes the laptop toward him with shaking hands. It was them. Grant, my father, they knew. Kian reads. His expression goes empty, then hard. You should go back. This will ruin you. It already did, Allura whispers. And I am not leaving. You are a Vance, Kian snaps. You can walk away and still land soft. I cannot. Allura steps closer, voice breaking but steady. I am not my father. I am not Grant. I am me. And I am tired of being owned. Allura digs deeper, using the skills her world demanded from her. She calls a former analyst friend and speaks in code. She trades a favor for a favor, even with her accounts frozen. People still want something from a Vance, even a runaway one. A file surfaces from an old court motion, sealed then quietly withdrawn. Allura reads it with her throat closing. The motion lists a witness who never testified. Name Victor Vance. Allura stares at the screen. My uncle. Kian's mouth tightens. That voice on the call. It fits. Allura finds a second thread, a transfer of an internal compliance officer to another company the week after the frame job, with a bonus so large it looks like a bribe. The officer's new employer is a shell tied to Caldwell money. Allura looks up at Kian. They paid to erase the trail. Kian nods once. So we build a new trail. That night, Allura almost breaks. She sits on the container steps, rain dripping off the edge, knees pulled to her chest. I do not know how to live without them, she admits, voice small. I hate them, but they trained me to need their approval. Kian sits beside her, close enough that his shoulder brushes hers. I know what it is to be built by people who do not care if you survive. Allura laughs shakily. That is not comforting. It is honest, Kian says. If you stay in this with me, it gets ugly. Allura turns her face toward him. I have lived pretty and ugly at the same time my whole life. At least this ugly has a purpose. Allura takes a breath and says the truth that scares her. I choose you, she says. Not as a rebellion, as my choice. Kian crosses the space and kisses her like he is angry at fate. The kiss is rough, honest, and it makes her feel alive. When he pulls back, his voice is low. If you stay, you do not get to be afraid. Allura laughs shakily. I am terrified. Good, he says. So am I. Later, Allura finds another poison gift in her name. A trust document. Silent shares transferred to her 3 years ago, tied to the stolen patents. Her father made her a key. Allura closes the file and looks at Kian. We take it back, she says. Kian nods once. Then we burn it down, he replies. Allura stops being a runaway and starts being a weapon. She calls her foundation board from Kian's container, hoodie on, eyes cold. Emergency meeting. Today, I remove Malcolm Vance from any operational role. Full audit now. The board resists, then folds when she names donors, legal exposure, and the paper trails her father forgot she could read. By night, Malcolm is out. Next, Allura leaks a sliver of Grant's offshore spending to a journalist. One headline, one crack. Caldwell Dynamics stock dips. Grant calls her, furious. You cannot win, he snarls. I am not trying to win, Allura answers. I am trying to end you. Kian needs proof, not revenge, so they go after the source. A Vance-owned warehouse sits on Long Island, guarded by codes Malcolm never changed because he never imagined Elora would use them against him. At night, Elora and Kian slip inside and find what was hidden. The warehouse smells like cold steel and old secrets. Elora leads Kian through aisles she visited as a child on staged charity tours. Now the lights are off and every sound feels too loud. A guard patrols outside the server room. Elora waits until he turns, then slips a security badge from her pocket. It is her old one, long expired, still accepted because Malcolm never imagined she would betray him. The door clicks open. Kian exhales, impressed despite himself. "You were trained for this," he murmurs. Elora does not smile. "I was trained to obey. I am repurposing the training." A secure drive sits in a metal box. Kian plugs it in. His stolen engine designs flood the screen, his name scrubbed, Caldwell stamps everywhere. His hands shake with rage. Elora opens a folder labeled Compliance and finds a recorded call. Malcolm, Grant's father, and a third voice, calm and unfamiliar. "We cannot let the girl become a problem," Malcolm says. The third voice replies, "Then handle the air issue." Elora feels ice crawl up her spine. "My uncle," she whispers. Inside the drive are drafts of press releases, lists of reporters to influence, and notes on how to make Kian look guilty forever. Kian's voice goes flat. "They wrote my obituary while I was still breathing." Elora touches his arm. "Now we rewrite it." They strike in public before the story can be buried. At a tech event in Brooklyn, Elora steps to the mic. Cameras flash. "My engagement is over. My silence is over. The theft that destroyed an innocent man is over." Kian unveils a rebuilt prototype, proof made with stubborn hands. He plays the audio. He shows the files. The room explodes. Grant storms in, face white. "This is insane." "No," Elora says. "This is accountability." The backlash is immediate. Victor's people call Elora unstable. A commentator says the dock mechanic is exploiting her. Elora watches the clip, jaw tight. "They will use sexism like a bat." Kian looks at her, then swing back. Elora schedules a second appearance, this time at a Manhattan finance conference that cannot ignore her. She walks onto the stage in a simple suit, no diamonds, gaze steady. A moderator stammers, "Miss Vance, are you saying your own family is involved in corporate theft?" Elora answers, calm and lethal, "I am saying I have evidence. And I am saying I will not be quiet because the criminal shares my blood." By nightfall, regulators request documents. A prosecutor requests the audio. Investors call Kian, not to mock him but to meet him. The first strike lands. That night, Malcolm calls from a private number, voice calm in a way that makes Elora's blood run cold. "Come home," he says. "We need to talk about your inheritance." Elora smiles into the darkness. "We already are." Malcolm pauses, then drops the next knife. "Victor is moving," he says. "And he does not want you alive in the boardroom." Elora looks at Kian. The war just grew teeth. Elora does not let the media frame her. She sits for an interview with a financial reporter who once praised her father. The reporter tries to bait her. "Are you being manipulated?" the woman asks. Elora smiles, polite. "If I was, I would still be in a wedding dress." The clip goes viral. People call her reckless. Others call her brave. Victor's team pushes stories about her mental health. Elora pushes back with receipts, timelines, and names. Kian watches her work and finally says, "You fight like an engineer." Elora answers, "I learned from the best villains in the city." For a few days, it feels like victory. Kian's name is cleared in public. Caldwell Dynamics bleeds. Elora tastes freedom like clean air. Then the counterattack hits. Kian's company accounts freeze overnight. A story drops at noon. Fraud allegations. Stolen data. Fake patents. The headline tries to turn him back into a criminal and Elora into a spoiled accomplice. Elora's phone floods with messages. Her hands shake. They are rewriting reality. Kian's eyes are hard. They are trying to reset the board. Black cars roll into the dock again, heavier this time. Private security, clean gloves, boots that do not belong on wet gravel. Victor Vance steps out, silver hair perfect, smile sharp. "My niece," Victor calls. "You made a mess." Behind him, Serena Blake appears, Illyra's closest friend from the old world. Illyra's chest loosens for one heartbeat, then tightens when she sees Serena's expression. Cool, empty. You should have listened, Serena says. You were always a puppet. Illyra feels the betrayal like a punch. Why? Serena shrugs. Stability, safety, the family. Victor spreads his hands. Your father wanted the tech. The Caldwells wanted credit. I wanted leverage. Everyone got something. Kian steps forward, anger rolling off him. You framed me. Victor smiles. You were convenient. Security moves in. They grab Kian first. He fights, fast and brutal, but there are too many. A guard yanks Illyra by the arm, dragging her toward a car. Kian shouts, Illyra. Illyra twists, eyes burning, and meets his gaze across the chaos. She nods once. Because this is not surprise. Weeks ago, after Malcolm warned her about Victor, Illyra and Kian planted decoy data. They tagged it. They waited for the theft. They waited for the knife. Now the knife is out, and so is the proof. Victor does not just take Illyra. He takes her narrative. On the drive to the mansion, Illyra watches her city shrink behind tinted glass. She keeps her breathing slow. Panic is what Victor expects. Panic is what makes puppets easy. Her phone is returned to her in the mansion suite, but it is a trap, loaded with monitoring. Illyra turns it on only long enough to see the messages Victor wants her to see. Kian arrested. Kian fleeing. Kian guilty again. Illyra closes her eyes, then opens them with a calm that feels like ice. She walks to the bathroom mirror and whispers, hold on. At the dock, Kian is released after a few hours, not because Victor is kind but because Victor wants him desperate and messy. Kian does not give him that gift. He goes straight to the garage, locks the door, and pulls up the tagged data logs. The theft happened exactly as planned. The route, the fingerprints, the devices, every greedy hand left a mark. Kian records a short voice note, one sentence, and sends it through a dead drop channel they built on day one. Trap is set, it says. Illyra receives it on the hidden terminal behind her vanity, not on the phone Victor monitors. Her chest loosens for the first time in hours. She is not alone. When Victor visits again, Illyra lets her eyes look tired. She lets her shoulders slump. Victor smiles, pleased. Better. You are learning. Illyra nods, obedient on the outside, and thinks, keep smiling. It makes it easier to aim. In the mansion, Illyra plays the role Victor expects. She lets the staff bring her meals. She thanks them softly. She asks for books. She does not scream. Victor relaxes when she looks tired, because tired women are easier to control. At night, Illyra maps the house the way she once mapped hostel rooms at galas. Cameras, patrol patterns, blind spots. She counts seconds between guard passes like she used to count votes at a board table. She leaves a note for herself on a scrap of paper, hidden under the vanity drawer. Do not believe Serena again. Do not fear Malcolm's guilt. Use it. The Vance mansion is beautiful in the way a knife can be beautiful. Illyra is locked into a suite with soft sheets and silent cameras. Victor visits with tea. Rest. Cooperate. We will rebuild your image. The dock boy will be handled. Illyra keeps her face calm. Under her sleeve, the flash drive presses against her skin like a heartbeat. At midnight, Serena slips into the room, voice low. Victor will cut you out. He does not need you. If you cooperate, you keep a place. Illyra studies her. Tell him I will attend the board meeting. Serena exhales, relieved, and leaves. Illyra waits, then opens the hidden vanity panel and plugs the flash drive into the mansion terminal. The system accepts it. The tagged files move outward, silent, to a secure address. Kian. The next day, the boardroom fills with suits and hunger. Victor sits at the head. Malcolm sits pale beside him. Serena stands behind Victor like a shadow. Victor smiles at Illyra. We finalize your removal from voting control. For your health. Illyra rests her hands on the table. Do you want to show them the real documentation? Victor's smile falters. What are you talking about? Illyra clicks a remote. Screens light up. Audio fills the room. Victor and Serena discussing the theft, the frame job, the plan to declare Illyra unstable, the plan to steal Kian's data. Malcolm's voice, strained, admitting he was forced. When the recording plays, the room turns toxic with fear. People who benefited from Victor's quiet power suddenly realize quiet power can be audited. Victor tries to laugh it off. Deep fake. Lies. A spoiled girl with a bad boyfriend. Illyra looks at the board members. If it is fake, submit your phones and laptops to an independent forensic review. Right now. Silence. One board member clears his throat. That will not be necessary. Victor's smile cracks. He leans toward Malcolm. Fix this. Malcolm's hands tremble. He looks at Illyra and something collapses in him. I cannot. I am tired of being afraid of my own brother. Victor snaps, you are weak. Malcolm stands anyway. Maybe. But I am done. At the same time, across New York City, Kian stands at a press podium. Cameras flash. He shows the tag data trail, the bank transfers, the shell companies. He names Victor. He names the Caldwells. He announces lawsuits and criminal referrals. The story explodes in real time. Back in the boardroom, Victor snarls, but his power is built on silence, and silence is gone. Security shifts, uncertain now that the public eye is on them. Minutes later, legal counsel arrives, then investigators. Victor is escorted out while he shouts threats that sound smaller with every step. Serena follows, still crying, still trying to explain betrayal as if it is an accident. Hours later, Illyra walks down the mansion driveway into late sun. Kian waits on his motorcycle, helmet in hand, smile small and real. We did it, he says. We did it, Illyra answers. He pulls her close. She breathes him in oil and wind and freedom. You still want my world, he murmurs. I want our world, Illyra says. Days pass. Illyra moves back into Manhattan, not into her old penthouse, but into a smaller place she chooses. She rebuilds the foundation with transparent rules and a new board. She sells off the parts of the family business built on rot. Kian signs a lease for a real lab space, bright and clean, with a view of the river. He keeps one corner of the dock garage anyway, because some roots are worth keeping. One evening, Illyra shows up at the dock in jeans and a leather jacket she bought herself. Kian looks up from a workbench and grins. You look like trouble, he says. Illyra steps into his space. I am trouble. Professionally now. Kian laughs, then kisses her, slow this time, like they finally have room to breathe. They sit on the pier at sunset. Illyra watches the cranes and the water and the skyline far away, and she realizes her chest does not feel tight anymore. My world tried to make me small, she says. Kian squeezes her hand. And you did not let it. Illyra leans into him. I finally found my part of your world. Kian kisses her hair. His voice is rough, soft at once. And you are all of mine, he says. Behind them, Manhattan glitters in the distance, no longer a throne. Just a skyline. Just a choice. Weeks later, the courts move like machines waking up. Victor's allies cut deals. The Caldwells pay settlements that make headlines. Kian receives his patents back, his name on them in bold, clean type. Illyra stands beside him at the signing and feels something unclench inside her. Malcolm meets Illyra once, alone, no cameras. His eyes look older. I wanted you safe, he says. You wanted me quiet, Illyra answers. He flinches. Both. Illyra holds his gaze. If you ever want forgiveness, earn it. Malcolm nods, small. I will try. Illyra walks away without looking back. She is not cruel, she is free. On the dock, Kian shows Illyra a new sign bolted to the garage wall. It is simple, hand-painted. Coal Engineering Lab. Illyra touches the letters like they are real. You kept my name off it. Kian shrugs. You are not a brand add-on. You are a partner. Illyra laughs, soft. My father would hate that sentence. Good, Kian says. Let him hate it. They walk the yard together as workers nod, not bowing, just acknowledging. Illyra does not want worship. She wants respect she earned. When her phone buzzes with an unknown number, Illyra lets it ring. She watches the screen go dark and feels nothing but relief. Kian brushes his thumb over the cracked gear pendant at her throat. You kept it. Illyra nods. It reminds me where my world broke, and where it began again. The harbor wind rises, cool and clean. Illyra lifts her face to it, then looks at Kian. Tomorrow, she says, we build. Kian smiles, fierce and warm. Tomorrow we build.
Thanks for watching. Follow for more romance stories.